Hello, everybody. This is the Shadows, aka Javier Jr., and I'm gonna give you some information about the Black Cops, aka the Night Owls. So, what would they look like actually, and what would they look like in the future, and all that other stuff? So, I'm gonna give you some information with the Shadows, Black Cops, aka the Night Owls that you guys saw, the new Allied forces, and what is their objectives and stuff. So, I'm gonna make it easier for everyone and myself. Is that I'm gonna tell you guys what they actually do and what they actually don't do. But I'll start with the uniforms first, then the ranks, and then all that other stuff. Then I'll start talking about what they actually do. The classified and the classified missions I'm not gonna talk about. I'm just gonna talk about what they actually do in mission. If you wanna be in those Shadows Black Ops or the Night Owls, I'll have to sign you in. But I'm still working on it and the Shadows family because, it's like a small group, but we're going to make it like a bigger community, like a bigger company and all that stuff. And yeah, so let's talk about the uniforms and the ranks. Then we'll talk about the cool shit. So the cool shit can start with last so everybody knows what they do. So to all the viewers, to all my subscribers, aka the OGs and friends and family, is that I recommend you listen this carefully. And if you don't want to hear me all talk all the time and you just want me to start the story, let's get into it so I can stop wasting your guys' time. And yeah, let's do this. So step one, the shadows uniforms, aka the ranks. So the shadows, right? The shadows black cops, aka the night owls, uniforms and ranks. I'll start with the uniforms first, then ranks second. So the shadows uniforms, what they were before they get to recruitment by them, before you do all of those stuff. If you want to be in the Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls, you gotta be either a medium rank or a higher rank class to be in the Shadows family towards the Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls. And some of you guys are gonna say, "Oh man, how are you gonna get up there and this and that?" Well, you can. You just have to be sergeant rank or staff sergeant rank to be in there. You could be in there as corporal too. It's a 50-50% chance of being in there. But I'm going to tell you about the uniforms, what they use. So, the Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls uniforms, they mainly use purple or black that represent of the shadows. Black is just representing of the shadows. Purple is representing the night owls, representing the ones that will be in the forest, keeping an eye on Mother Nature and wildlife. But that's different. That's a different shadow squad. But we're not gonna talk about it. That will probably be on Discord recruitment. But I'm going to tell you guys what the uniforms and the rank levels what they do. So the low ranks levels for the uniforms will obviously be purple uniform. Nothing too special, but they get commando, but not the best commandos. They just get like a regular commando, well, purple uniform. Nothing too bad and stuff. They get like a purple commando or just fully purple. Uh, Uniform and they just get trained all of that stuff. And then the commando, what they will have, they will pretty much have like purple and grayish, not the best, but it is something. And then after they get ranked up to other ranks, then they will start getting the hands and start understanding what the missions and the objectives they do. But we're gonna talk about that later. After all of that, when you ranked it up to the other class is gonna have the same thing like purple in a uniform but more darker gray. After you rank it up to the medium class, The medium class will also have the same thing, but the opposite. It's just with a black uniform, and the purple is just getting lighter, purplish, and then darker purple. And then after you're the highest rank, the cool part about the high ranks and their uniforms of the Shadows Black Ops, aka the Night Owls, is that they have full command of their own squad in their group, and they have a glowing how I say it, a glowing purple uniform, but the uniform they have is a little harder to see because when it's purple and shiny, it would mainly be the blades and all the weapons they have. But the uniform, like the other commando, like black and then darker gray, they pretty much would be there in the uniform of the higher ranks and other stuff. And yes, they will have a braid or something, and then like a captain hat and stuff. But that would be the opposite because we're still working on it. You know what I mean. And yes, they do have a cool objectives and cool missions what they do for the Shadows family, and the Shadows family actually like to support them because what they do is actually fucking cool and a lot of stuff. And yes, they are our new ally forces. And yes, there's like over 350 ally forces, but we're still working on them. We could get recruitment from those guys. And after those recruitment, you could do what the heck you want, and if you think about it, you could do a lot of cool stuff, but just don't do anything too bad because you'll get pretty much ranked down in a really bad position you don't want to. You know what I mean? And no, we're not gonna do all of those stupid shit. I'm pretty much just saying that just be careful, don't put some stupid stuff or do all these negative stuff because if we see you doing those negative stuff, we will kick you automatically. And you will no longer be in the Shadows family or the military forces. You will be discharged and permanently get kicked or banned. So be careful with that. But anyways, I'm not talking about the other stuff. We should talk about the Shadows Black Ops and the Night Owls. So like I was saying about the uniforms, they will have like a glowy-ish or like a glow knife and blades with the high ranks, and they are harder to kill. And yes, they have like their own other commands, like a backup squad in case like if their own squad gets hurt and they lost the responsibility of them. They have a backup squad where they will retrieve the bodies and put them somewhere safer, like a medical area, and in case if they're still alive or not, but they'll still do them to protect them on the games and shit. After that, the Shadows Black Ops, aka the Night Owls, also do a lot of cool stuff, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, that's pretty much their uniforms. And yes, they do have a final boss uniform, but the final boss uniform for the Night Owls, aka the Shadows Black Ops, is a little bit different. Instead of having the same uniform like the rest of the others, there's the final boss is more. I can't even describe how the uniform is. It's just like it's like a bird, pretty much of an owl, but glowy-ish or something. I don't know. It's weird. I have to double check on that uniform, but I'm not sure. So yeah, that's pretty much the Night Owls, aka the Shadows Black Cops uniform. And now we're gonna start talking about the ranks. So the ranks is just like the same thing, regular military forces, like the military will use, but the opposite. Instead of just copying the military, we're just gonna make it a different way, like a different language. Because the Shadows Black Ops and the Shadows Night Owls wanted like a owl's language. Pretty much they wanted like instead of like this and that, we should put it as Shadows Rank or Owl Ranks. You know what I mean? Instead of just saying military ranks, we could just say Owls Ranks because we got a owls. Or we could just say Shadows or Shadows Ranks. You know what I mean? Just for that. And Yes, they do have different rings, and they do have different logos of rings, but we're still working on the logos. We just might need to ask some a couple friends to help us with that in the future. You know what I mean? And to give another update, because that's pretty much the small information of the rings. Now we're gonna talk about um what's it called? The armor and the weapons they use. So this is the interesting part about the Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls. The Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls, just use like special operators or aka special forces, like uniforms and armor, but they have more stealth and tactical stuff. They're not like a guy that's gonna go in the front line and stuff. That would be a different Night Owls, and they have like a lot of other missions to do. But the Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls, do have cool uniforms. Instead of just having like those military armor uniforms, their uniforms are gonna look the exact same thing as their uniforms with the armor along, but with a badass version. The low ranks would just look like special operators. The medium ranks, same thing, but with a little bit badass armor. And then the high ranks just look like more badass. Like they look more buffier and more faster, pretty much. Like an owl, pretty much. And yes, they do have night vision and stuff for them, but they will have different types of night vision. Sometimes they'll have regular, and then they have my advanced military tech night vision in the future, which is gonna be a little tough and stuff, and other stuff. And some of you guys are gonna be curious: is the armor and the vest and all that other stuff, plate carriers, helmets, and gloves, are they also gonna look like the same uniforms of the uniform you just talked about? Yes and no, because some of the uniforms and gloves will have to customize it or customize made or have to paint it and stuff to make it actually look like it, or have to buy it online just to get all of the shit. But we're still working on them, and yes, we are getting those guys ready and up. But we're just working on the other classes and the other groups of the Shadows Discord recruitment, aka the Shadows Discord. Wait, the Shadows recruitment, pretty much. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk about the Discord recruitments. I'm just here to talk about the Shadows Black Ops, aka the Shadows, not the Shadows, the Night Owls, pretty much. And yes, they will have like plate carriers, pads, and all those armors and extra ammo just to protect themselves and medkits. And if anybody is curious about the Shadows Black Ops, aka Night Owls, do they also use like the same operators, like rifleman, automatic, and all those other stuff? Yes, and we also bring out snipers and all that other stuff, but we'll talk about those guys in a future video, like a part 2 video for those ones. So yeah, the armor and the uniforms, like I just said before, the uniforms and the armors are just gonna look the exact same thing, but the low ranks will just look like special operators. Medium rank will look like the same but more badass armor, and then the higher ranks just look like a boss battle, and then the final boss looks like a juggernaut battle. Pretty much harder to kill and harder to fight, pretty much, which is really interesting. And you could be in there, but you have a lot of responsibility though, which is cool and a little badass if you think about it. But anyways, that's pretty much what I just said. The uniforms and the armor slash night vision will just look like the same thing, pretty much. And if anybody is curious about the color of the night vision, is it any other color or is it just like regular night vision? The color of the screen of the night vision will turn out purple, and then rarely it will be green. So it's just rare. So yeah, that's the cool part about the night vision. But anyways, we'll skip over that and start talking about the weapons they use. So the Shadows Black Ops, aka the Night Owls. The weapons they use mainly it could be AK-47s, ARs, or the M4A1 pulse rifle, aka assault rifle. And then for like the support class, like gunner class or sniper class or like explosive or breacher class. Sniper class would just use like a AWP sniper rifle or a different sniper rifle for Takano marksman or something. I don't know, but there's a lot of that for them. But the gun part will be in the futures. The machine gunner for the Shadows, Black Ops, aka the Night Owls, are a little bit different. Instead of just having like those American machine guns, their machine guns are gonna be a little bit opposite. They're gonna be more like futuristic. And then the other machine gun, like a regular machine gun, would probably be like a PKM or something, which is kind of interesting and stuff. Nothing too special, but it's interesting. And if any chances, do they also have a secondary? Yes, everybody has a secondary and the special operators of the Shadows Black Ops and the Night Owls. And yes, they do have the same pistols, but the lower ranks have the same pistols. The medium ranks have a little bit similar to the low ranks, but the opposite, just upgraded version. And then the high ranks just have different pistols, and then the highest boss is just classified pistol we're not gonna talk about. It's just an interesting one, which is a little bit interesting for anybody that is curious about joining the Shadows Black Ops, aka the Night Owls, which is really cool if you think about it. And some people are gonna be like wondering how much people will be in the Shadows Black Ops and the Night Owls. Well, I'll be really honest, it depends how many people we have. You know what I mean? Because one, if we get over like 100 or more Shadow members, we could make it to a bigger company like the Shadows Black Ops company, or we could call it the Night Owls company, which sounds like a badass name if you think about it. And yes, they will work with the Shadows family, but they got full protection by the Shadows family. And yes, Death Squad is also gonna be with us, but the good side version of Death Squad. And yes, I will actually make an edit of one of them because I'm actually gonna release that soon. So you guys can see what they actually look like, and that will be them in the future and maybe in soon. But who knows? So yeah, that's pretty much the Shadows Black Ops. Oh, I forgot to put the higher ranks. So what the higher ranks also use. Higher ranks, so apologies if I forgot to put the higher ranks weapons. The higher ranks weapons have like an upgraded version, like every special operator will have. They have an upgraded weaponry and other stuff. And yes, they do have blades near the arms and stuff, which is really harder and challenging to take them down and stuff. And the final boss, I'm not gonna really talk about their heavy weaponry or secondary or their special weapon. All I'm gonna say it's classified unless you join in for them. Then you'll understand what they use. Which is so tough and you'll look like a Mr. Badass. No disrespect, but you will look like a military tough guy if you ever think about it. You could even be the most powerful night owls of every special forces of the Shadows family. And we will support you how cool you are. If you think about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much the ranks of all the weapons and units they got. And if anybody is curious, does what is the breacher carry? The breacher just carries like a combat shotgun, nothing really ordinary or nothing too much special, but they do carry a AA-12, an automatic shotgun or one of those other automatic shotguns, which looks pretty badass. But their automatic shotgun has an upgrade version. It depends what rank you are. If you're low rank, you should be a regular rank. It's nothing too special. Medium rank, you get a little upgrade, but nothing too special. Higher rank, you get like a badass automatic system where it should pretty much help you, get those enemies wiped out. And then final boss or like the highest ranks, whichever got to put them. They're same thing like the final boss, but highest ranks. You will literally have a badass shotgun that looks like it has no recoil, which is so cool if you think about it. After all of that, they also carry C4s, but their C4s are not gonna be like futuristic. It's just gonna be like modern and stuff. Nothing too special about it. But they do carry grenades, flashbangs, and a lot of cool stuff. And stun grenades, just to stun enemies that are hurting innocent lives and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the weapons that the Shadows, Black Ops, aka the Night Owls, that they use. And now we're gonna talk about the interesting ones, the missions. So the missions, aka objectives, what they do and what they don't do. So the Shadows Black Ops, aka the Night Owls, what's their mission and what's their objective? Their missions and their objectives is mainly rescue missions, like helping innocent lives and saving lives. And then the other objectives, like other missions, is containing anomalies or executioning any anomalies. Like think about it as this. We're not hurting anybody, but like think about it as this in gameplay. We're pretty much sending these guys to go after like dangerous anomalies that are terrorizing the neighborhood or terrorizing cities or terrorizing innocent lives like humanity. We send in the night owls. Pretty much they will be the guys containing these anomalies or shooting them down with no hesitation. They will also protect themselves like brothers and sisterhood. And yes, they will rescue any civilian that are injured and protect them and put them towards a shelter area to get healed or treatment, pretty much, which is so badass if you think about it. And if anybody's curious of what the Shadows Black Ops and the Night Owls do in rescue missions, they just do like regular rescue missions. Like, think about us like SWAT or like military special operators. They just do like that, nothing too special. But the anomalies part, this one's special because they mainly just go after those anomalies, either containing these urban legend cryptids or anything that could hunt them. And they will literally try their best to contain it, and if they fail, they'll fall back and send in a higher, different group class to send in and deal with whatever the heck that is. You know what I mean? And yes, we do have we do have like facilities, but those facilities don't work anymore, sadly. We do have companies or private companies that will help us to do it, but not all the time. The sad part about the Shadows Black Ops, aka the Night Owls, containing anomalies is not really much in there, but is pretty much rare. Pretty much the Shadows, Black Ops, aka the Night Owls, only contain anomalies if they're like. I'll be real with you. They only contain them like rarely. They don't really contain a lot of anomalies. They only save a lot of lives like rescue missions and stuff. But the containing part about the Shadows, Black Ops, aka the Night Owls, pretty much what they do is that they do contain, but they also eliminate the anomalies that are hurting innocent lives or hurting Mother Nature or wildlife. Then we take action and take down those anomalies containing them or study them, which is kind of badass. And in the other class, the special classes, we cannot talk about it. Let's just say it's classified information. Unless you want to join in the Shadows Black Ops or the special operators called the Night Owls, you can, but you gotta be secretly. You know what I mean? And no, we're not hiding Dark Seekers or this and that. It's just more like mysterious or like I don't know how you say it, but you know like how SCP Foundation or Task Force and they just call it. Mysterious. It's just pretty much like that, but we just like to call it mysterious or like secrets. Nah, I just like calling it mysterious. It kind of looks badass. What do y'all think? Mysterious or like secrets? Nah, I think mysterious is better. We just call it mysterious. I don't know. I'll have to figure out a good word for that. But yeah, pretty much that's their missions and their goal. And what is the other objectives which they don't do? So, this one is the most serious one for all Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls missions. So, the missions that they don't do is start conflict with people, hurting people, or start doing all stupid stuff. Like, think about is this: imagine a Shadows member was being so disrespectful to their leader and just start hurting everybody and their feelings. They will get kicked out immediately and banned on the Discord recruitment, and they will never come back by all allies recruitment, especially that squad themselves. You know what I mean? And then there's another problem is that if any of those Shadows Black Cops or the Night Owls start being corrupted and start doing bad crime, then we take action, then we alert another Shadows squad, aka the Bounty Hunters. But the Bounty Hunters, we'll be talking about them in a future video, or maybe talk about them in a future video until I retire from the military. Then you'll understand what they actually do. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much they should not do in their missions and stuff. And another thing I forgot they also shouldn't do is that do not disturb the peace, do not do anything stupid. Pretty much the Shadows family or the higher ups that told me this is just to tell the Shadows Black Cops or the Night Owls to anybody that wants to be recruitment is that don't don't say anything too wild, don't say disrespectful or say a lot of crazy stuff, because you do that you will be automatically kicked, banned, or permanently banned, timeout, ranked down, or a lot of action, or you will have to do a 3 paragraphs or maybe 10 paragraphs apology letter, and you gotta seriously mean it, which is painful, but it's the truth. So be careful what you say and be careful what you do for the Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls. So yeah, that's pretty much their all objectives and all that other stuff and their missions and what weapons and gears they will use. And if anybody is curious what logo they would use, their logo, because I already have an image of it, and the Shadows family knows the image what I was thinking, and they should like the image. It's pretty much like a owl, right? A black owl with purple eyes and like serious purple eyes that's just angry like an angry birds, but like in the forest of the woods. And yes, they will all have patches or like logo patches on their uniforms that represent the Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls, which is so badass. And we're still working on the logo, but it should look pretty badass what they pretty much describing as. You know what I mean? And other stuff. And I think that's pretty much all. I gotta double check. Yeah, that's pretty much all. So we're still working on those other stuff and those other classes and stuff and shit. And if anybody is curious what the Night Owls, aka the Shadows Black Cops vehicles, I'll probably have to talk about that vehicle part in another video, like a part 2, so I can start talking about what they actually do, which I already told you what the missions they do. But the vehicles, then transports and all that stuff, I'll probably talk about those in part 2, so you guys can have a better understanding and stuff. And another thing I also want to say, because I also gotta go, is that that's pretty much all the information that you guys could get on the YouTube channel about the Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls. And if I didn't explain it pretty well, I can maybe have somebody explaining it to you guys pretty well. But I'll probably be in a future video, or I'll probably just tell them to read it on the bottom to the top to you guys on like a piece of paper, which is pretty much like a 10 paragraph paper, which is so annoying to read. But hey, at least I really explained it sort of, and other stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say for the YouTube video. And shout outs to the Shadows Black Cops, aka the Night Owls, which is literally what I just said. And yeah, those are our new allies forces. If anybody's curious about those recruitment, and I could sign you in if you wanted to or not, but I had to ask the Shadows family. But we're still working on the Discord, sadly. But in the future, if we are open, I will open the Discord for anybody that's curious to join. If anyone's curious to be in those ranks, you can be in those ranks. You just gotta be in the promise section and all that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna say. And I also want to give another information out to everybody. If I messed up the shorts, is that about the military forces and all that other stuff. So for the Discord recruitment, aka the Shadows recruitment, is that if you don't want to be in those forces or military forces, and you just want to be like a regular Shadows family member, or just wants to be in the Shadows community, you can. You don't need to be in the military forces. You could actually support the forces and do a lot of cool stuff. And a fun fact about the Shadows family is that we will also have a community where everybody will just chill, talk, and do a lot of normal stuff. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. It's just a lot of cool stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say for that YouTube video. And shout out to the Shadows family that recommended me to tell you guys about those information, because they were gonna keep it privately, but they wanted me to tell you guys this because it sounded cool and badass, and you know, why not? I wanted to say it to you guys because some of you guys might be curious of joining or not. It's up to you. But yeah, that's the cool stuff. And yeah, and another thing I also wanted to say is that God bless you guys, God bless your families, the viewers, aka the subscribers, aka the OGs, friends and family, and everyone else that's watching this video or this YouTube channel. Is that God bless you guys again, God bless your families. I hope Jesus Christ gives you healings and prayers and wisdom and strength. And yeah, so I'm into those prayers, and I will give you a Bible verse in my comment section so you guys can have the most blessing things that you need and wisdom. And yeah, peace out, God bless, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.